Gotten some rest, they're energized, they're ready to go. We're going to kick it off with another amazing workshop. Some of you, if you've been to previous years, you might recognize the amazing instructor you're about to have. She leads some awesome award-winning, boss-winning, power-winning groups you may have heard of. Mix or Lark, who is here today. So please welcome to the stage to teach us about some singing techniques, Erin Hackel.
Hi. How are you guys? Good. Should I just be unamplified? All right. Feels like an unamplified kind of a day, doesn't it? How are you? Good. Yeah, I'm good too. I can't get out. I can't get out of the spotlight. Have any of you been to one of my vocal technique classes before? A few of you. Oh, I'm going to teach you guys how to sing in any style you want to sing in. How's that sound? Yeah. Great. Totally healthfully. And you're going to learn how to do it today. But then you're going to have to practice, and then you'll be able to do it. So, my name is Erin. I teach at the University of Colorado, Denver. I am a classically trained singer. How many of you have trained in classical technique before? Lots and lots and lots of you. How many of you have had good training in contemporary technique? Handful. Yeah, it's hard. It's a little harder. So I have a master's in opera. I have a doctorate in voice performance and pedagogy. And so I spent a lot of my life singing tunes from hundreds of years ago, which is very cool. But I happened to get hired at one of the only music programs in the United States that is a contemporary program. And so I walked into that in my late 20s and was like, I don't know how to teach these people anything. And so I decided I had to learn. So I went off on a grand Lord of the Rings type quest to figure out how to train contemporary singers in as helpful and as scientific a manner as I had learned how to sing classically. And it really did take me to quite a lot of places. And some very cool places, including Denmark, which that didn't hurt. And so you guys, in the next 40 minutes or so, are going to receive all the fruits of my labors. You're welcome. So I'm going to give them all to you. I came up with my own teaching method. It's called spectrum singing. And you are all going to sing today. And I'm going to show you exactly how to sing healthfully in contemporary styles or classically in old styles. You can sing healthfully in every single way. Shall we begin?
Yes.
Let us begin. Great. So let's start with, I usually have a big presentation behind me, but you only get me today. So I'll try to be as presentation-like as possible. Talk to me for a moment about support. This is something we hear as singers, yeah? In training and in choirs, and people tell us to sing with support. What does it mean? What does it mean to you? Give me some words. I hear a lot of diaphragm, ribs, air. Okay, diaphragm. Tell me how. How do I use it? Tummy, not chest. Air, tell me. Who said air? I'm not going to point you out. Air, tell me. How do I do it? How? That's some nice specific things. Yeah.
All the way around your diaphragm.
Open all around.
push your tummy out when you breathe in so that your diaphragm can go down so that your lungs fill up all the way because you physically move your organs out.
There are pieces of that I like a lot, especially the organs. Okay. Any other things? Okay. As singers in training, we get a lot of words said to us that actually don't make any darn sense. And we nod and we smile and we go, okay, I will now expand my back. And sing. Right? Or I now will push my tummy out. That's a little more specific, actually, which is why I like it. I will push my tummy out and sing, right? And it's a lot of things that feel, I'm now using my diaphragm. And I don't like it. It makes me angry. So let's get specific, shall we? The diaphragm is an involuntary organ. You cannot control it. It's like your heart. Make your heart beat faster right now. Right? So when somebody tells us to use our diaphragm, we're actually incapable of doing so. What we can do is allow our diaphragm to do what it is supposed to do, right? Which is to come down when we breathe in, which gives space for our lungs to inhale. If we don't release our abdominals, then our diaphragm can't actually do what it needs to do. So everybody please stand for me. We'll do a little experiment here. I want you to actually engage all of your abs right now, hard as you can. Take a deep breath, go. What'd you do? Did you breathe right up into your shoulders and your chest? Great, so that's not working out for us. We can't do that. Okay, let's push our stomachs out. I haven't heard this one before, so I'm actually curious. Push your stomachs out as hard as you can. Okay, take a breath. How'd that work out? Okay? Yeah. Okay, here's what I really want you to do. Let's let our diaphragm really go to work. We're going to relax all of our rectus abdominis. We're going to relax all of the muscles that go this way and this way. We're going to relax the whole thing. Close your eyes. I want you to picture a 1-year-old baby in a diaper. They've just started to walk. They are very cute. Their diaper is full. And their little bellies are just hanging out like nature intended. You haven't done this in a long time because we're supposed to hold our stomachs so tight so that we can be very attractive and thin. But for right now, our eyes are closed and we are making hoochie baby belly. Have you done it? Relax. Now, take a breath. How'd that go? Pretty good, huh? That was a nice breath. Okay, do it again. Hoochie baby belly, let it out. Relax, go. We have now allowed our diaphragm to do what it is supposed to do. Thank you, says our diaphragm. Thank you, say our lungs. But we have to sing. We can't sing with hoochie baby belly. Sad but true. So we need to find a way to support our sound. Support meaning specifically, we need to have a regulated sense of airflow underneath our vocal folds so that our vocal folds can do the job that they want to do, which is come together and make sound. Now, the best way for us to do that is to actually create a framework here so that we haven't completely collapsed our bodies and we are actually unable to create a regulated airflow. So once we have taken our hoochie baby belly breath, TM, we're going to engage a very specific set of muscles on top of the rectus abdominis here, okay? This is called your epigastrium, and it's very easy to find. You're gonna find it with me. It's about 4 fingers down from the bottom of your sternum here, and you can find it by going like this. But hard, and it'll pop out. Find it? Be aggressive with it. Got it? Got it? Got it? Hold it out. Got it? You don't even have to make a sound. Hold it out. Be quiet. Hold it out. Hold it out. Turn to your neighbor. Say hello. 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 Let it go. Great. Now let's stand with our nice raised sternum here. We're going to allow our poochie baby belly out. Here we go. Take a breath. Engage this bundle of muscle. Go. And sing for me. Keep it up. Excellent. Stop. Poochie baby belly. Breathe in. Don't engage it. Sing. Feel like a yucky floppy dolly? Because you are. Okay? Poochie baby belly. Here we go. Breathe in. Engage right here. Go. Great. Support. You're done. Sit down. Step 2. Okay, friends. Let's talk about the actual singing function and how we are going to get to our goal of singing in every single style that we want to sing in. The first thing that we need to realize is that the larynx, everybody find your larynx for me. Look to your left. There you go. What is your larynx? What is your larynx? Sorry? Voice box? What's it made of? Cartilage, yeah. It's this bunch of this mass that really houses your vocal folds, okay? That's what's inside your voice box. Your larynx can move. Everybody put your fingers on your larynx. It's your Adam's apple, by the way, if you're a man. And swallow. Do you feel it move? Guess what? You get to control it. Fabulous. Let's control it and make some different sounds. Tuck your fingers up here under your neck, like so. We're going to move our larynx all the way down to where our pinky fingers are. I call this an anchored position. Bring your larynx all the way down here. Go ahead. Hello. Hi. Hello. Wonderful. You now have an anchored larynx. Great. You have an anchored larynx. What good does it do you? It does you a lot of good as singers for 2 reasons. We have brought the origin of our sound in its little housing, we have brought it down lower into our throats. We have created a longer tube. Origin of sound to outside of mouth. What does a longer tube create sonically? Lower, a lower pitch. Flute, piccolo, right? So we just went from piccolo to flute. So we have lower pitches. If you've ever been in a choir and you see people reaching for those low notes by tucking their chins down this way, their instinct is to push down their larynx to create a lower pitch. Okay? Number 1, lower pitches. Great, super useful. Number 2, when we move the origin of sound further down the pipe, the sound waves have longer to bounce around, create more partials, create more overtones. We get a richer, warmer sound, okay? Anchored larynx, warmth. Keep that in your head. What genre of singing has a lot of warmth and roundness in it? Classical singing. Classical singers anchor their larynx 100% of the time, give or take, okay? So if you want to create a warm, classical sound, you must anchor your larynx. Anchored larynx. If I do that with my larynx high, I'm a really bad classical singer, okay? So, and all it took was maybe an inch, okay? So warmth of sound, anchored larynx, tuck your fingers back up under here. Around where your ring finger is really most people's natural speaking voice. I call this the easy laryngeal position. Just turn to your neighbor in your easy laryngeal position. Hello. Wonderful. Great. So this is a higher laryngeal position, and a higher larynx creates just a little less warmth in the voice. So this laryngeal position is often used by jazz singers. Easy, right? Singer-songwriters like to use this laryngeal position as well. It has some warmth to it still, but it still has a little bit of point to it. Tuck your fingers back up one more time, please. Right around your middle finger is energized! Hello! Energized is your belting position. If your larynx is not up here, you will not belt. You will crack, okay? So those of you who have big, heavy belts and you feel like you're starting to crack around G or A, that's because your larynx is too low. That's one of the reasons. Okay, so this is our belt voice position. And in some people, it makes you sound like a baby doll. But that's okay, it doesn't really matter. In some people, it doesn't. Everybody's whole structure is completely different as you look from one another, okay? So it's gonna vary from singer to singer. You are all have unique individual voices, just as you look completely different, okay? Tap one more time. All the way up here is high! You might find some cool effect to throw into your set or something. Okay, so we have now, our gross motor function is taken care of. Our support is taken care of. We have these 4 vertical positions of the larynx. Keep them in your mind as we now do a deep dive down the trachea, which is your windpipe. And we're going to now hang out with the vocal folds themselves. How large are your vocal folds? About how big? Thumbnail? Yeah. So teeny, 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 tiny. And then how often do they come together to make sound for us?
A lot.
How many times a second? Depends on the pitch. Anywhere from 250 to 2,000 times a second. Higher the more. So they're incredible creatures. We can make all the sound with these tiny little magical things. And they're a little harder to control than this sort of gross motor function, but you guys are going to figure it out. So let's talk about the ways that the vocal folds close over that lovely airflow that we have created. Normally, I would have a disgusting picture of vocal folds behind me, but today I do not have that. I'm sorry. It's okay. The vocals, they are good. You're right. Okay, vocal folds are actually in a V shape, and they sit horizontally over our airflow, like this. They're connected in the front, and they're open here in the back. So if we're just breathing, they're kind of just hanging out here, right? Nice and open. If we want to pull them together, we have to engage some musculature. It has a lot of Latin words, and there are lots of different layers. And if you're going to make an A on your test, you have to memorize them. And I don't remember them even anymore, probably. So I've broken them down into 2 easy to remember sets of muscles. The first set are the vocal folds themselves, which are muscular, and they're in the front, so we're calling them front muscle, okay? Front muscle is big and strong, Front muscle closes very efficiently over the vocal folds. Many of you know front muscle as being the mechanism of your chest voice. Yeah? So let's all say, ah. Very nice. That is front muscle function closing the vocal folds by itself. What happens if we keep using that function but we go higher and higher? What will happen? It will crack, right? It's going to crack. Why does it crack? It cracks because your front muscle alone cannot stretch. Your vocal folds must stretch for you to sing high. When you crack, there is another set of muscles that take over. They are back here in the back. We will call them back muscle. They close the folds from all the way back here. And in general, they are not as strong. They are pull the folds together from back here and they allow it to stretch, and so you can sing high. This is the musculature that you probably know of as your head voice, falsetto for men, okay? So let's all do it. Okay, that's back muscle by itself. Back muscle is lovely because it can go very, very high. And if you strengthen it and get really, really strong, which you can do, then you can be a fabulous classical singer. I have very, very strong back muscles because I trained them for a really, really long time. And so I can pull my vocal folds together very efficiently with just my back muscle alone. Most people haven't decided to do that because why would you? I did. Choices. Okay. So the very cool thing about these two sets of muscles, front muscle and back muscle, is that they don't have to work independently, and as a matter of fact, we want them to work together, okay? So let's talk about how we can have these two sets of musculature work together and to form different laryngeal functions and to form different sound. So we have back muscle function alone. And if we add a little bit of front muscle into the ratio, just tip it forward a little bit, I call that slope. It's got a lot of back muscle, so it can still go pretty high, but it's got a good bit of front muscle in there, so it's got the closure of the vocal folds coming together, okay? A slope singer is going to be a jazz singer, going to be a legit music theater singer, something like operetta maybe even, could be in slope. If we decide that we want even more punch, we're going to add even more front muscle function, and then we're a pop singer. We're an incline, which is how I call it, okay? And you basically have almost a 50-50 ratio of front muscle to back muscle function. If we want to tip it all the way forward, we're in full, and that's what you guys were just singing. Full, just front muscle function by itself. We're going to sing in every single one of those right now. Someone sing me an E. Anybody correct them? E, play me. Here. That's fine. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go from back. We're going to go from back, right, neutral, through slope, through incline, all the way to full. I'll do it first. It goes like this. And then you're going to start in your falsetto. Here we go. Ready? Excellent. You just go from neutral through slope, incline, into full. Let's go front to back. Ready? Act. Wonderful. You're all wonderful belters. Okay, so here's where we're lining up our gross motor function. What we're actually doing by creating these different mouth spaces is we are letting our larynx go where it wants to go in using these different ratios. So we're starting with an oo, which gives us an anchored larynx for the most part. It's raising up as we go into slope, and then it's all the way up here for our ah incline, right? Ah is the vowel for belters. Belters look like this. Why? They're picking up their larynx, okay? If you're gonna belt, you need to be in position 2, okay? That ramped tongue, teeth, and they're actually bringing their jaw forward to make that happen. Some people do this naturally, all by themselves. Some of us have to learn. Okay, so let's do it one more time, back to front. Here we go. Very nice. Front to back. Okay, did anybody have any little glitches in the way? A couple little glitches, that's because your muscles don't know how to play well together yet. It's practice. If you practice it, it will go away, okay? It'll go away lower first, and then you can take it higher and higher and higher until you can do that cool musical theater thing where they go from like a and they just take it on, right? And you can do that too. They're essentially going from incline all the way back to neutral with no little lumps or bumps in the way. So, cool trick. So, we need to be able to isolate these spots so we can decide where we want to sing. Yeah?
Yes.
So, sometimes we want to sing here in incline, sometimes we want to sing here in slope, sometimes we want to sing here in neutral. Yeah? So, let's start. Let's find slope. It's the hardest. We're going to start in A, and then I want you to crank it back until right before you slip into neutral. Okay? Does that make sense? Let's give it a try. We're going to start with A, and we're going to stop the clock right about there. Here we go. Good. You're all doing light belt. Great job. You're very accomplished. Let's stop at an incline. Okay? And then we're going to stop right here. Here we go. Good. All the way back to neutral. Very nice. Okay, questions? No, other voices. It doesn't. Yes, yes. Male or female, it all sort of works in the same spot, if that makes sense.
What was the question?
Just sort of what octave you can sing in. The lower, whoever's singing lower, it's not going to work for you down there. Sorry, if that makes sense. You got to be up around that middle C area for it to work. Yeah. Let's talk about resonance. Yes, let's talk about resonance. Let's talk about resonance. Tell me what you know. Use your nose. Okay? Use your nose. How do you use your nose? How do you make a nasal sound? Very good. What did you do? What did you do to create that? Push your cheeks up. What you're doing is you are moving your soft palate. You know where your soft palate is? It's in the back. It's if you are old enough to be snoring, then you know where it is. Everybody snort. That's your soft palate. It's going click, 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 click. So we can control our soft palate. It's a little hard, but you all just did it. Your soft palate controls the passageway to your nose. And so if your soft palate is down, then air is coming through your nose. Everybody again. Excellent lowered palate. Now lift it and make it not nasal. Go. How many of you aren't sure if you lifted it or not? It's hard. Here's how you test. You pinch your nose. So if you make a nasal sound and you pinch your nose, and air is coming through your nose, the sound will change. Everybody make a nasal sound and pinch your nose. Do you hear it change? That's because air is coming through there. Now lift your palate, or try. Do it palate successfully, okay? So there's soft palate. So if nasality is a resonance for you, well, you're probably singing Adelaide and Guys and Dolls, maybe. I don't know. What's that? Falcon singing, sure. Or some of those, yeah. There's some very nasal sort of ways culturally, too, that we can be singing. But it's generally not a resonance that we use. Your resonance space is really quite individual, and it is really just your pharynx, okay? So it is your mouth space, it is whatever you have been given all the way down here through your throat, and all of those things. What we can do is change our placement of where we are singing. So we can create a very dark space if we want to. So everybody, let's do an ah vowel. Ah, everybody say ah. Ah. Now can you say ah, but make it a very dark ah? In essence, we're manipulating our tongue to move sort of the resonance of the sound all the way back here. Say ah again. Ah. That's probably middle. Can you make it very bright? Ah. Right? These are all just tiny tongue manipulations that are sort of changing the brightness of whatever vowel that we are doing. So brightness is something that I think we can easily manipulate. So we now have on our grid, we have the gross motor function of the larynx up and down. We have 4 different positions. We now have 4 different positions that we can put our larynx into. We can decide to be nasal or not, and we can decide if we want to be dark, medium, or bright. These are all the ingredients that we need to create a singer. So let's create one. Let's create a high musical theater singer. Where is her vertical laryngeal placement? Is it anchored? Is it easy? Is it energized? Or is it high? She's energized. Great. She's energized all the time. Where is she living in our laryngeal functions? Is she neutral? Is she in slope? Is she in incline? Or is she full? Slope to incline. Depending, right? Sometimes she's really going to crack at us. Okay? Great. Is she nasal or is she not nasal? I disagree. I think most music theater singers are not nasal at all. That's my opinion. You guys can give a listen. But I don't hear a lot of ah. I think they've got their palate pretty neutral to up. Okay? And then brightness. Where is she at? Is she dark? Is she medium? Is she bright? Bright. She's bright. Okay? We just made a recipe for a music theater singer. Let's do the same thing for a classical male singer. Okay, where is he? Anchored? Anchored. He's anchored. He's anchored, for sure. Now, where is he? Is he neutral? Is he slope? Is he incline, or is he full? This is a trick question. He's full. He is full. Male singers in general are using their full front muscle. This is why male classical singers often get to G or A on the middle of the treble clef and they crack, right? And they struggle with what they call the passagio, okay? What they don't know is that they need to start belting. And the ones that have figured out that they need to start belting are the ones that have figured out that top end. But there are thousands and thousands of poor male classical singers who just are fighting for that A, because they don't know that they can't leave their larynx all the way down here. So sad for them. Okay, so they're in full. Are they nasal? Are they not nasal? Not nasal. Are they dark? Are they medium? Are they bright? Pretty dark. Could be medium, and it depends on the singer. A lighter singer will probably have it a little more bright. Great, we just created a classical male singer, okay? So you guys can do this. You can mix up your pot, and you guys can move all these things around so that you can create your own voice into all of these different functions. Does it make sense? I'm so glad. What time is it?
2:40.
40. Great. Let's have some singers. Who would like to come up here and be a little baby guinea pig? All the way in the back? Oh, yeah. Okay, great. Let's do it. Jason's a baby guinea pig. Okay. Do you have just like a lip or something to sing?
Like a chorus. I'm in hair right now.
Oh.
And he's giving hard, and I am actually having a lot of trouble figuring out where to put it.
Let's sing a little.
Can I get where does it start? How can people be so heartless? How can people be so full that easy to be hard? This part's not hard. It's the oh wait, can I sorry for the B flat? Do you know the people? Especially people who care about strangers, who care about evil and social injustice. Do you only care about the bleeding crowd? How about a needing friend?
Great. So, you guys know how to fix this. Do you know that? No, how to fix it. What have you learned about belting? Where does the larynx need to be? High. And so when you get to that how, we've got to get a very high larynx. You've got to set yourself up by success, because we're so tempted by the low larynx because it creates such wonderful warmth. And we love it and we feel so happy. And then all of a sudden we try to carry it up higher and we crack. And it's so sad. And we cry for days and days, which is true. Okay, so when you get to that how, we're actually going to veer all the way up here.
Okay.
And I want you to think of how. There it is. Okay, so yes, it's a very high.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so forward jaw, totally ramped tongue. Can you lean into it just a little bit? Let's see if we can kind of do it all. Can you do it all?
Yeah. Starting with this actually.
All of it, yeah, from out, on out.
Does we fly here?
That's it.
I'm like,
It's okay. It's high and it's scary. And,
Yeah.
and B flat is really high anyway. Okay? So, I mean, to begin with. So, the more you can work to get your tongue up,
okay.
the better it's going to go. And it is jaw. That one, do you see how that one's a little pointier and more direct at you? That one.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's littler than you think it is.
Yeah.
So instead of following our classical instincts, which are when we get higher, we get bigger this way. When we're belting, it has to get smaller and this way. And actually, I'm going to have Mandy come up here and do her really high stuff really quickly. She has a special name for it, I think.
Thank you
so much. I heard Mandy earlier today, and she calls, what do you call your super high?
Splatting.
She calls it splatting. But in essence, what you're doing is just squeezing everything all the way up here in your tongue all the way up. So can you just give us a lick of something?
Sure, I'm gonna exercise that I learned.
Sing a tune.
Okay. Should I do that? Okay. We're gonna get down to the river. I'm gonna take up the revival. Yes, girl.
So do it one time, and I want you to watch her face, and you're gonna tell me what she just did. Okay? Go ahead.
I'm gonna take up the revival.
Great. What'd she do? Jaws forward. What was her tongue doing? Ramping. Do you see her teeth?
Yes.
Okay, so she put herself straight into this position so that she can have some success. Can you do a little bit longer of it?
Sure. I'm gonna take up the revival.
Great. So this is Mandy, incredible singer. She just does it all by herself. So same thing. If you're gonna be successful successful, then you've got to set yourself, put your face in the right place. It takes a lot of practice. Okay, thank you so much. As we're done, if you have any questions, come and find me. I know this is a short little session. I think my group Lark is up next, so hang out for that, and thank you so much.